tell us what it's like on being on shows, Show of the Century and Jeopardy.
Okay, well, both experiences were a lot of fun to do, but unfortunately, both of the experiences ended very badly. I
Oh,
won't
okay.
get into the details of Still of the Century for you, but I think you can find my episode online somewhere. But it's a
Okay.
fun, fast-paced quiz game, and I did very, very, very well. But there was this returning champion, the reigning champion, who was also very, very good. And we battled and battled and battled and battled and battled. And I was having a blast. It's such a fun game. It's colorful. It's flashy. All the stuff you dream of a game show being. And when it got down to the end, there's a lightning round of 60 seconds worth of really, really, really fast questions. And at the end of that, we were tied. So they asked one more question, and she got it. And that's how, yeah, exactly. That's how close I came to winning. So
Yeah.
then many, many, many years later, I get to be on Jeopardy, and same kind of thing. I was aware that the returning champion had won a few games and was pretty good, but I still did really, really well against him. Got down to the wire. If I had gotten Final Jeopardy and he had missed it, then I would have won. But both of those things would have had to happen. As it turns out, I got it wrong and he got it right, so it wouldn't have mattered. And my
Yeah.
punchline, which you may not know, but I bet a lot of your viewers do, that returning champion was Ken Jennings.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
My one chance to play Jeopardy, and I had to play against Ken Jennings. At
Oh,
that point,
jeez.
he had only won like 14 games, I think.
How
So
funny is that?
it wasn't nearly the 75 or so that he ended up winning, but it was still at the time they had only recently changed that rule that let you play more than 5 times. And somebody had won 6, somebody had won 7, nobody had won 14. That was just considered unreal. But here he
Yeah.
was, and I did really, really, really well, but it was Ken Jennings.
Have you
So
two
that
ever
was
met after that?
yes. For a
Okay.
while we don't keep in touch any longer,
Yeah.
but we did. I met him face to face one other time, and we had exchanged emails a few times. He's a very nice guy. I
Yeah.
certainly don't blame him. He's living the dream. He's literally living the dream of any of us who are trivia people who thought
Yeah.
someday, especially I hosted a local game show, so you start thinking someday when Alex is gone, maybe I'll get to host Jeopardy. And that
Yeah.
literally happened to him. So I don't begrudge that. But, you can understand why the experience was a little bit disappointing.
How crazy is that that you're in the same room with the past Jeopardy host and now the current Jeopardy host?
I'm not
It's
sure I had
crazy.
ever put that together, but you're absolutely right. That's true. I was there. I was there. Of course, there were a lot of us who fit that description because he won,
Yeah.
75 games or so. So that's at least 150 people who lost to Ken Jennings.
What was the back like with this, as a person, behind the scenes?
What was Trebek like? The thing about Trebek, and I don't know if Ken does this or not, but the thing about Trebek, you never find out because he's just not there.
Okay.
You're doing all your preparations. There are producers and stage managers who are running you through your paces, and you're nervous and you're worried about how you're going to do, and all of this happens. He's in his dressing room. He comes
Okay.
out to greet the audience when you hear him being announced, and that's it. So
Okay.
he walks out and we start, and you're immediately, as you know, when you watch television, he walks out, you're immediately playing the game. You're right into the game. And then during the first commercial break, Alex would come around to each of the podiums and he'd put his arm around you and somebody was taking a picture of you that you would get eventually. So when you see people posting their pictures with Alex, that's literally in the commercial break between the first part of Jeopardy and the second part of Jeopardy. And
Okay.
you don't have time to talk to him then. And then
Yeah.
the only other time you have any time at all to talk with him is those few seconds when the credits are rolling. And he was pleasant, but it's his job and he has to deal with a lot of people coming through. So the truth is you never really get to, it was the same way with Jim Perry when I was on Sell the Century, and I'm sure any number of other people who had been on game shows will tell you, in general, you really don't get a chance to see what these people are like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.